So your clutch basket fits here and it locks onto this taper here with that screw that holds the whole thing on, and it's driven from the interface between the taper on here onto your clutch basket, which needs to be both in beautiful condition for that to make sure it locks in, and your woodruff key, which is in here. If this woodruff key is worn or damaged, what will happen is it will spin and this can come away from here, and then you'll get your clutch basket wobbling. Your clutch basket won't wobble if this is all in good order, and the fix for that is to change your clutch basket, because the taper inside it has been rattled around and it's worn. They're in good order, they don't wobble. The only other thing that can cause your clutch basket to wobble is the bearings in it have collapsed, in which case you need to take your clutch basket apart. There's no other fix. A clutch basket should not wobble around. All the power of your engine, through all the transmission and everything, goes through that little Morse taper and that woodruff key. And if they're kaput, you're going to end up with trouble, aren't you? So it's very, very important they're in really good condition. And the Morse taper in there needs to come together perfectly, clinically clean, if you like. But anyway, that just slides over the top of the Morse taper and the keyway, and you should be able to see the keyway just protruding out. I've just pushed that on, but as you can see, there is no movement on that clutch basket at all. So anybody tells you, oh, that's normal to have a bit of wobble on there, no, it's not. You don't have any. None. Zero. All right, so now we've got the basket on, relatively, as you might say. Then you've got to fit these two parts. This is your thrust washer. This is the nut that holds this all on. That is not just a washer. That is made of hardened steel. That is really hard material. Don't use an ordinary washer in there. Use the correct one. Very, very important. And if you've cleaned all your threads up properly, as you should have done, this will all just screw together quite nicely. The outside of the hub can rotate, because that's what's driven off your drive, and the centre of the hub can't rotate because that's connected to your chain and your back wheel, and you've got your clutch in between. So it's just a matter of tightening that nut up. 70 foot-pound, I think it is. Pounds is 94 Newton meters. Oh, there you go. There is no discernible movement in that bearing. If it's wobbling, it won't align with the correct sprocket, with the front sprocket very well, will it? The engine sprocket. That tolerance between that engine sprocket and there is only 2 thou. Just spending a bit of time shimming this up and getting it exactly lined up is well worth it, and it's not hard to do. And equally so, I think that makes sense now, that there should never be any movement in that basket. If there's any wobble on that basket, that's going to throw that alignment out, isn't it? I think that makes sense. So anybody who tells you, oh, it's normal for have these clutch baskets to wobble around, it's talking out their ass. Okay, now we're going to do the alignment between the front sprocket and the back one. I've got new bearings in here, so they're not going to be exactly the same as what I had before. I've put the 2 spacers in that I've got, which is a thick and a thin one. they locate onto the bearing housing, and then for your drive sprocket, put it on, turn it round, put it on, and turn it round until you find the one that slides all the way down the spline without too much problem. It should be a little bit snug, but not too bad. And then once you've got it down there, just tap it home, make sure it's all the way down. You might have to pull this off again. Well, you will have to. You've got to put triplex chain on, but you can't really do this with the chain on, because you need to be able to get right across the front of the sprocket and line it up with this one. Right, that's down. So basically what you're going to do now is you need a foot-long steel edge ruler like this, and you lay it across the front of your engine sprocket, and you lay it across the end of your clutch basket, and the edges of the teeth, the land here, should be 2/1000th of an inch tolerance between here and the edge of there, or other way around, and you use shims on your engine sprocket to set that up. So after a great deal of fiddling about with shims, I've now got mine well within tolerance. 2/1000th of an inch, or 3 thou, 2 to 3 thou. If you put a bright light at the back under here, if it's 2 thou or less, you will not get any light passing by. If you've got a huge band of light behind it, you know it's more than 3 thou. That's sort of a rule of thumb with guesstimating, and it's about right. It's not far off. So yeah. So I'm happy with that. While I've got it like this, the other area is the clutch operation. I just want to talk a little bit about that. In your clutch basket, you've got splines, these splines here. Your clutch discs run up and down inside these splines. If they've got notches on or damages on them, it's going to interfere with those clutch plates sliding backwards and forwards, isn't it? So cleaning up, just going over these when you're rebuilding your engine or changing it for new, if you've got a big budget. Personally, I never do. All I do is I get a fine file and clean up these slides. And what you want to do is the damage on the corners, and you end up with a burr sticking up, and that's all it takes for your clutch basket to jam. Just cleaning that up will ensure that your clutch works perfectly and it won't jam. You won't need to free it and kick it off when you start your bike up. Before you start your bike to free your clutch off, you won't need to do any of that. That's all you have to do. It's not hard. And that damage comes from you basically dropping clutch a bit too hard, like doing racing changes through gearbox and things like that. you've got metal tabs on your clutch discs. My old ones before I put them back on, before I throw them in bin. But these are my old ones. These metal tags on here, certainly on the steel plates here, if you've got any dinks on those, it's as bad as having dinks on here. So you need to clean these little tags on here, fit into these slides. So if they're damaged and got burrs and things on them, they're going to jam, and you don't want it to jam. And as I said earlier, this damage comes from abuse. Somebody's dropped the clutch too hard and damaged these plates. You want to drive your bike around racing it and things like that, then fine, you're going to end up wearing these out, because that's just these are not really up to the job. You're talking about all the power of the engine going through these little tiny tags. It's a vintage bike. It's not. if you're putting, you increase the horsepower to 60, 70 horsepower, 80 horsepower, it's all got to go through that little tag unless you upgrade this. But if you're just a normal everyday rider like I am, cleaning these up and making that slide up and down inside these plates nice and smoothly, you will never have any problems with the dragging clutch, gear changes, false neutrals, all of that. It gets rid of them all. The other thing is, these plates here don't want to be shiny. Old ones are better than new ones. The ones that's got a bit of marking on them grip the clutch pads much better than very shiny smooth ones. So if you've bought some new ones and they're all polished and shiny, get some emery cloth and roughen them up. As you can see, mine are quite worn, and I will definitely be reusing these. I'll be binning that bit, but these are definitely going to be used again. These are original Meriden ones, so it tells you how long they've lasted. But as I say, cleaning up these little tangs, the inner one, the steel plate ones grip onto the centre, and your clutch plates grip onto the outer. Clean them up. Easy. Hopefully you can see that moving. Now see how it lifts, because you've got 3 ball bearings under here, and that's what makes your clutch operate. Because when as you pull your clutch in, that pushes the rod across to the other side, and that lifts your pressure plate off. These things wear, and I recommend that every time you take this off, buy a new one and put that on. They're dead simple to fit. It's just a couple of screws. Just buy a new one. They do wear. What happens is that they start, when they do start to wear, you pull your clutch in, you get this like a click, and it's because it's pulling over centre, because it's worn a groove instead of it lifting properly. Just buy a new one. It's not really repairable. It's not worth it anyway. They're about $25, I think. I should put it on just to show you. You want to agree, when you put it on to use it, make sure you put it on, make sure this is nice and clean. So there's a rod. So your clutch operates simply by that lifter assembly, as I showed you, lifts like I showed you, and pushes that in like that, and that lifts your pressure plate. That's it. And then when you let go of your clutch, it pulls back, engages your clutch. If this is bent, which they can do, they tend to knuckle up in the middle, and then it makes your clutch operate really weirdly, and it makes it difficult to select a gear. Just buy a new one. You can't. Trying to straighten these is a waste of time, and it fits in these. You've got two little bushes at either end that it sits in.